Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast. This is Kevin Deveji, your host. Thank you for being with us. We just passed 20,000 YouTube subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much for your support. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We'll appreciate your support. Also, next Friday, May 23rd, our business networking event is coming up. That is our first monthly business networking event. It's called the Connectional America. It is exclusive, and we're gonna have professionals being with us. It's gonna be also streamed live next Friday on May 23rd. You'll be able to learn and meet with other professionals. They'll introduce themselves, their businesses, their products, and we'll discuss popular subjects such as AI, as well as tariffs, economy, and other subjects as well that we'll be sharing information about. We have limited seating. If you're interested, please go to our website, americanpodcast.tv, and register for the Connection America exclusive online business networking event that we are organizing. And it's going to be monthly and with limited seating. Please join us. Next, if you have any ideas for our podcast, if you like to be a guest, if you like to share some thoughts, connect with us. Our email address is americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We are keeping an open mind. Any ideas that you have, you like us to cover, you like to be a guest, or you know someone who can be a guest in our podcast, we welcome it. Please send us an email. Also, if you'd like to know what is coming on our podcast, our schedule is posted on our website, americanpodcast.tv. We are excited, we are motivated. We truly appreciate your support on YouTube. Okay, great. So let's welcome our guest today from 2M Technologies, Manny Morales, with us. Manny, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Kevin, thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me. And congratulations on the growth of your show. This is terrific.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are very motivated. We are definitely fired up, that's for sure. And we appreciate our audience. So we got the message. That means we are on the right track. So we'll keep broadcasting, streaming every Friday with guests like yourself, with wisdom, with experience, and we keep this momentum going. That's our goal.
Well, lots of luck with it.
Thank you very much. Well, let's get started. So we have some subjects to cover and some conversations to have. Well, first of all, how is your week going so far?
Week's going good. Thank God it's Friday. Friday always gets 10 extra points. And looking forward to a good weekend.
Yes, yes, that's great. Well,
How
same
about
for
yours?
me. Yeah, same for me. It's been a busy week with meetings and customer meetings and preparation for the podcast. So it's Friday already. Hard to believe, but no complaints, right? Fridays are fun days, so it's gonna be good.
Very good. Yep, for sure.
That's good. So looking forward to weekend. Well, that's good. Well, so for our audience and for our listeners, would you please introduce yourself and your company, and
Okay,
they can learn about you.
sure. My name's Manny Morales. I'm the co-founder and owner of 2M Technologies. We're located in Hauppauge here on Long Island. We develop business solutions, and we've been in business since 1987. Uh, Generally, solutions geared within software. So, ERP type systems, single business type applications, e-commerce sites, things like that. Inventory control and supply chain sort of applications. Because we've been in business since 1987, we've also evolved a lot from the days of mini computers to current cloud-based applications that we've created and SaaS services that we've developed and put out on the Microsoft commercial marketplace for one. But I've got a good crew. We're about 8 people here, most of them developers and technical people. It didn't happen overnight. We went through, in those 38 years or whatever, we've gone through, a number of different folks through here, but I think we've got a really good crew now, and a crew that stands behind one another and backs one another up. So I'm pretty happy with the state of 2M. So anybody that needs any business software of any type, give us a call. We can create applications, but we also have off the shelf applications that we've created, and we can perform integrations and do all sorts of business process automation and those sorts of things. Um, we're here to be of whatever service we can.
Manny, you have decades of business experience. How did you choose your career? How did you start it?
That's a good question. When I actually started paying attention to computers as a potential career in high school. My parents actually thought, and it was like up and coming, but beyond up and coming, there were already computers in business, but they were the sizes of houses or rooms, and very limited in what they could do. But they advised me. They said, take a look at it. Take some classes if they have them in high school. So I grew up in Queens, in Queens, New York. I, 12 years of Catholic school, four of those at Archbishop Malloy, and I took two semesters of computer science in Malloy, and those kind of put me on the track towards gearing towards computer science, and software development and programming. So, brother Richard Van Houten, if he's out there anywhere, you created a monster. I attended Stony Brook, which prepared me very well. And I majored in computer science and applied math. Then you're kind of on your own. They, Stony Brook was a great place to learn, but their career placement, at least at the time, was not, superlative. But a friend of mine had gotten a job as a programmer with a small company out here on Long Island. They needed some additional help. And that's how I entered it from a professional perspective. Um, and actually, a funny story is that the customer that whose software I first wrote in that little in that for that job, off of that notice, is still a customer of 2M. So
Amazing.
it sort of bears out that if you do the right thing, you know,
True.
your customers will do right by you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, just for our audience to know, so I am in enterprise software business myself, so I can definitely relate to what you mean. I mean, it takes a lot of effort and dedication to keep the customers on your software for many years. So what you just mentioned is definitely, it's a great success. Having a customer for decades, giving that service, and and I know you work very close with your customers. Over the years, you become colleagues, friends, you know
Absolutely.
so that's amazing that you built that relationship.
Yeah,
And
you really become trusted advisors,
mhm,
for them, and you learn their business, to the extent that you know as much going on there as that they do, at least from the framework of it, and that's a big plus too, because when we're engaged as trusted advisors, we know everything that's going on in the business from an operational perspective, and we can have a relevant conversation. And we don't have to learn that again. We know it already, and that's the way we do business, by getting very close with our clients and learning the way they do business, not just their systems.
yeah, that's great. Well, in terms of your business that you work on daily basis, what are the challenging parts and exciting parts that you see on daily basis?
Well, running a small business is a challenge, and has challenges all in of itself. That has nothing to do with technology, right? So there are kind of like multiple things going on that are creating challenges. The from the technology perspective, technology is always changing, and I love learning about technology, and I love scratching at the surface of new technologies, and that's one of the challenges in that. At any given day, I'm looking at a new technology, and trying to immerse myself in it and play around with it and whatever else, knowing full well that half of that is going to be obsolete in a year, right? That it's either never going to gain legs, or it's going to fall
Yes.
down, or something else. So I probably spend 10 or 20% of my, the day that I'm working which is not 9 to 5. Obviously, no business owner can do
That
that.
is true. That is
So,
true.
of learning new things. Um, Another challenge that's kind of linked to that is we're Microsoft partners. We've
Mhm.
been Microsoft partners for a number of years, and because of that, we get certain benefits from Microsoft. But we also need to keep up on certifications and things like that. So there always seems like there's a new certification
Yep.
to have to keep
They
up
keep it
on,
coming.
or recert, or something else. So
Yes.
that's another challenge that kind of gets thrown in there. As far as running the company, some of the challenges. I never wanted to be a leader that just says go do this and people hop to it. Not a general. And I don't even want to be a boss. I want to be a leader. So lead by example. Empathize with your employees. Try and give them a reason to want to come to work, because it's going to be not just a sweatshop. It's going to be not just a rough spot to get a paycheck from, but that hopefully can teach them something, show them some things, and maybe pass along some wisdom from the years of experience that I had. My when I joined that company, the gentleman that owned that company, he was kind of a mentor like that. That he was a much better mentor. I had to say a much better mentor than a programmer, but he really taught you a lot of things about business, and the way to conduct yourself, and those sorts of things. And those are really what stick with you. The mechanics of programming you can teach yourself, especially nowadays. You put on YouTube, I want to learn Python, put on a 4 hour Python course, and you learned it. But those
Mhm.
sorts of things are a little bit more ingrained and lasting in what you learned, especially in those formative years.
Let's talk about AI a little bit. So, well, you are a technologist. You are in it. You interact with it on daily basis. And when we look at the general business landscape, it's actually shaping business. It just started in a small scale right now. Always, it's here to stay. AI. What is your take on AI? How it's gonna be keep changing the business landscape that you think? Also, in terms of adapting AI, what type of challenges businesses typically have? What is your observation in general?
Well, AI right now, as you said, it's in its nascent form. It's not brand new, but it's very new to be adopted by businesses, small and medium businesses. That companies that are in the industrial parks in your area can make use of. Right now, I see AI as a force multiplier. Um, it's a very powerful tool. It lets you do more with less. It lets you do some things that you might not be able to do with AI, without AI, rather, in a reasonable amount of time. Like big data models. That if you've got a plethora of data that your ERP has captured, right? Your ERP has captured. AI can help you make decisions based upon that, and it might take a person, an analyst, many, 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 hours or even days and weeks to go through it to arrive at those determinations. But you can do that now in kind of like minutes, and there are tools out there like Fabric and Power BI and things like that can bring you along and have AI built into them to help you to make those sorts of judgments and decisions. Um, I think you're seeing it in manufacturing, where things like predictive quality control, or forecasting, um, automated inspections, and as I said, big data analytics up and down the business spectrum, are used, um, and that's only growing. there's a growing use of agents nowadays. To again a
Yes.
force multiplier. An agent can maybe answer in the bell curve, maybe
Mhm.
just this part of it, maybe 30% of the questions that come in. But that means you've only, a human rep only has to deal with 70% or 20%. Depends on how good that model is, and agents can use all sorts of data as input to be able to answer questions, and the those that set up agents, and program the agents, but in a different way than programming was back in the day, right? When you scratch coded everything, there were tools that you can use to help you in your journey.
Mhm.
And that yields in cost reductions and efficiencies that are just now coming into effect. So it's letting those people do more with less, which is, I think, what in business today, and probably for the past 5 to 10 years, businesses have been striving for.
Mhm.
There's challenges. There's plenty of challenges. Data quality, maybe number one, right? That
Mhm.
AI loves data. So if that data is in sort of a disarray, it's going to be very difficult to get meaningful information from your AI applications. So you've got to make sure your data is of the right quality, and to use a term normalized. I don't mean normalized like a database, but normalized that it's not all over the place. But AI can make use of image data and textual data, and all sorts of objects. But you've got to have it in such a way that the AI engine can use it. Um, I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, about if there's any young people out there, what should they focus on? There's
Oh yeah,
kind of a
that's
lack of
coming. Yeah,
AI
definitely.
talent. There's a lack of AI talent, and
Mhm.
that drives up the cost, and that makes things. In spite of the fact that there's all these tools, you've got to know how to use it. If you don't know how to operate a saw, then having a saw doesn't help you all that much.
Mhm.
So you've got to know how to use those tools. Um, Another challenge I see is integration with legacy systems, right? That there are still plenty out there, and that they're just exactly the way the ownership wants it. So it's working their operation perfectly fine, but we want to integrate that with some kind of a large language model, or
Mhm.
some other type of AI application. So there's another challenge.
Mhm.
Um, there's there is resistance by personnel,
Yeah, the resistance to change, right?
and they feel that, oh well,
Yes.
AI is gonna take my job. It's gonna put me out of work. Um, and there are some occupations that are going to be waning as far as their usefulness now. In our own industry, I'm going to say something like coding, pure coding, not software development, which I believe is going to be going up by using these tools and gaining knowledge on how to use those tools to integrate them and help you problem solve.
Mhm.
But the people that used to, sit down, write a program, debug their one little section of it, and then that's it.
Mhm.
I think that workers who do just that, are going to be phased out, or moved, retrained and moved is what I'm actually hoping for. Um, but there are a lot of models on GitHub, and there are a lot of models, available, where
Mhm.
you can basically say, you can go to ChatGPT and say, uh, um, show me a SQL, write me a SQL statement that does this, that, or the other thing out of this table, and merges it with that. And it'll
Mhm.
give you a pretty darn good set of code on just that.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
only going to
absolutely
get
exactly.
better.
Yes.
Um,
Actually, we can link this conversation to digital transformation as well, in a way.
yes, absolutely.
Because it's because you've been working with many different companies and organizations over the years, and you help them adopt digital transformation. So just for our audience to know, like what digital transformation is, in general, and if you can share some use cases, based on your experience, that will be great.
Yeah. So digital transformation. There's a lot of areas where AI can again augment that,
Mhm.
and not just AI. That digital transformation. In other senses. Um, and let me just like stop for a second. One kind of outlook that I always that I've been espousing for a while is that cybersecurity touches everything in the digital world, right?
Mhm.
You need to be aware and you need to be concerned with how security impacts that thing that you're doing. Well, AI is getting that way as well because it's so pervasive and it's in so many things. Yeah, you can find pieces of AI in every component in Microsoft Office. You can find it in your security suites. You can find it in other types of applications in your supply chain. So it's that sort of thing it's pervasive. Now, things that I think have been transformative in digital, not to reuse it, but in digital transformation. Something we saw a couple of years ago, remote work enablement, um, has been a huge factor in a huge transformative element of digital transformation. 7 years ago, if you ask the typical employer, would you let your employees work remotely? Absolutely not. They're not going to get their work done. There's no way that they're going to be able
Oh yeah,
to.
definitely, no way, no
Not
way.
way.
There will be no. That's for sure.
And then we had to, right? Then COVID came and
Yes.
whatever it was with
Yeah,
COVID,
I'll
but we
I'll
had
just support
to.
your point. I'll just
Yep.
support your point. So before COVID, is actually, this is a bonus conversation. This is off the script, right? So a little bit. It's very interesting. So before COVID, there were cases that when I was introducing some business software systems to some companies, um, they asked me to convince them, like instead of using pen and paper or let's say spreadsheets, why should I choose a software and leave my current system behind? Like that was the question that I had to convince them to move things to software instead of pen and paper. So to
Mhm.
your point, absolutely. I mean, COVID definitely. If COVID changed one thing, this mindset of adopting technology and just motivating companies to just adopt technology is just one thing that at least that we can get out of COVID, I think.
And I think that a lot of executive groups and business owners and things like that, they didn't look at technology so much as the cost sink as much as something that they needed to do. They needed to keep their enterprise safe. They needed to empower their workers to be able to take their work out and do it from wherever because I know we saw it. You probably saw it. Employees are actually more productive if you give them that as an option, because when they're sitting in their car in the morning, they're actually sitting at their desk at home working if they've got a work from home day or something like that. So I'm a big
Mhm.
proponent of that. As far as additional AI uses for in digital transformation and how it's benefited um, RPA, right? Robotic process automation
Mhm.
and letting things like workflows be able to take your documents, take them apart, trigger certain this doing this makes that happen, so we don't have to worry about a person getting in the mix. The system itself takes care of itself with its workflows. I think smart manufacturing with predictive maintenance, predictive QC, things like that are transformative. The smart supply chain. Now we saw when the supply chain started coming back to life, how there were all these bottlenecks and those kind of things, and you know, with AI, blockchain, IoT, we now have the tools to be able to deal with that a lot more effectively and let disruptions be on the smaller side than on the larger side. Of course, there's certain ones that we'll never be able to eliminate entirely, but that's something that we can at least again help mitigate. And And I think the whole thing with big data and data-driven decision making is big. It's a big digital transformation point throughout, throughout business and commerce.
In your career journey, have you had any role models? Do you have any role models that you can share with us?
Yeah, from the earliest time. I mean, my first role models were my parents, and then by extension, my family, my grandparents and aunts and uncles, and my older siblings and things like that. That were, very supportive, and my parents always, taught, they built, they taught me to have a good foundation that things get to be built on. My first role models that I wasn't related to are probably the astronauts. I was a young child in the 60s, and the space program was sort of like in front of everybody and was this
Amazing.
amazing thing. And these guys were, going to places where nobody ever went before. And I was amazed with that. And it never even bothered me or occurred to me that they're sitting on a loaded fuel tank that was built by the cheapest bidder on a government contract. That just never passed my mind. So that kind of gave me a desire to do things that hadn't been done before, even if they weren't done before by me. Um, to keep pushing out on that. You know, Once I started into my career, and even a little before that, I am an aficionado of history. So I had a lot of role models, or at least people from history that impacted me. Patton was one of them. General Patton was one of them. Just because of the way he went about handling his career, with sort of a combination of romanticism and very specific planning and dutifulness. Um, Once I was in the software world and doing my thing there, a quote from Hannibal, the general, came to mind, and is one of those things that you put on the wall, that we shall either find a way or make one. And that's always been the way I felt about software, that if there's not something that'll do that now, we can make one. We're creative people. We can figure that one out. Um, but I think I've had a lot of different role models through time, and through my career. And though I was blessed the most at home, the support of my family at home, my wife and kids, without which I wouldn't be able to do anything. So I do consider myself blessed with all that.
Uh, do you have any lessons learned that you can share with us in your career journey, that you basically experience some lessons that you learned that you can just share with us?
Well, in 38 years of my career with 2M, and 45 years of outside of that, in just IT. If I didn't have some things that I might have learned and want to pass along, then I wasn't paying attention, right? Um, be prepared for change. That's something that I would offer, anybody maybe new coming into into any field. But things are going to change. You want to be in this life for a while, and so expect the geography to change a little bit, and be adaptable to it. Um, I wanted I want to be the kind of as I said, a boss or business owner where I wanted to be a leader rather than a boss. So you know I feel that that's the way to lead. To be a mentor. Sometimes you got to be a boss and kick people in the fanny. There's no doubt about it. But I think by and large, being a boss who is a leader and can lead by example, is the way to go. Um, think of what your goals are, and remove everything from your life and from your perspective that doesn't support that. sometimes it's tough to weed it all out and to decide, especially when all kinds of things are going on. Um, what do I keep? What do I give back? But if you focus on your goals and get rid of anything that doesn't support that goal, I think that's a good way to, you know, go through your career, but also, go through your life. Um, um, Always learn. That's, I think, what's helped me a lot in this field, but in life. Just always be willing to learn, and it keeps the wheels turning up there as well. Um, I've over time, you learn kindness is free and stress is expensive. So
That's true.
it's better to be, to have kindness, to try to get rid of stress, and keep that in the forefront. That putting everything in perspective like that, and a big one. I had some health scares a couple of years ago. Um, they're still somewhat ongoing, but take care of your health. Especially as you're then not at maybe the beginning end of it. You're getting on into it. Take the time to take care of yourself. Because if you don't, um, then all the time that you think that you're saved by not doing that is going to come back and haunt you.
What are your biggest interests, or I must say, passions outside of work?
I would say that there probably seemed to be a point where I didn't have any passions outside of work, but that's never really been true. But it just might have seemed that way at times. Family's my greatest passion. My wife, my children, my grandchildren, they're number one in my life. Um, Traveling is a great thing. The picture behind me is a beautiful place in Colorado near where my son lives. My wife and I just got back from Grand Canyon, and we enjoy doing traveling, and we enjoy seeing different parts of the country and the world. So that's certainly a passion of mine. Um, Not a guilty passion, but one that's kind of a little bit off basis. I love gardening. I've got a little vegetable garden at home, and I'll grow my tomatoes and zooks and things like that, and it gives me something to focus on that's not anything having to do with work. And I think people need that also to sort of decompress and get their mind working, but working on something else. And then, as I said, I love history. I love reading. I love learning. Um, I love science fiction and horror movies, and I'll sneak an occasional one whenever I can.
Yeah, that's great. Well, before we end our episode, do you have any career advice for the next generation? In the age of AI, in the age of digital transformation, some final career advice that you can share with them? Would
Yeah,
you-
do what you have a passion for. You know that if I'm a big proponent of STEM careers, right? Because I hate to say they'll always be in demand, but they're very frequently in demand. So, you know, software development, computer science, engineering, medical. I mean, there's a million of them. Electrical engineering. I mean, whatever. Um, but pick something that you have a passion for. Um, Over deliver on everything that you do. Uh, if you haven't gone to school, if you're still in high school and you're trying to figure things out, um, look at what your earning power is going to be versus what your education may cost you. Um, Unfortunately, I think, and this is not to do anything except spot what my to say what my observations are. Guidance counselors don't always prepare you for that, you know, and you want to match the two of them together. If you're going to go into STEM or whatever else, as I said, pick what you have a passion for. If you're going to go into technology, um, then looking get a good cross section of things like cyber, things like AI, things like analytics. Teach yourself those concepts. So that you're better equipped for the future. I would also say, and this is how I rounded out my open credits in Stony Brook, is that I basically threw a concentration of electrical engineering at it, because I was doing all this software and math, but I wanted to have a good knowledge base for where we were going to be running it, and it's always good to have that you know that kind of cross pollination between infrastructure and software. And I think every infrastructure guy should learn some software, and every software guy should learn some infrastructure, because they're more and more tied together. Where it's more and more
Yes.
difficult to say this is purely of this nature.
Mhm.
You know, um, and on a personal nature, take time for yourself, right? Try to strike a work-life balance. Um, be the reason that someone smiles every day. Is something that I try to do every single day. So for anybody that's out there going into the workforce, um, the best of luck, and hopefully you can be the best. You can be the best whatever that you can be.
Manny, in case our audience would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way to contact you and your team?
Probably my website contact form,
All right, yes. Mhm.
www.2mtech.com. That's it right there.
All right, perfect, perfect. Yes, so we keep it on the screen. Yeah, this is great. Manny, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for sharing your wisdom. Uh,
Yeah.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
You as well.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Well, to our audience and to our listeners, it was another great, informative ABP session, right? I hope you enjoyed it, and more to come. Thank you so much for your support. As always, thank you for supporting us on YouTube as well. We just passed 22,000 YouTube subscribers. We are very, very excited. This is an exciting news for us. If you haven't done so, please visit our YouTube channel, American Business Podcast, ABP YouTube channel, and please subscribe. That means a lot to us. Please support this business community, and let's grow it together. Also, next Friday, May 23rd, it's our first business networking event that we are putting together. It's going to be exclusive. It's going to be live on our podcast, and you'll be meeting with other business professionals, and they're going to be also introducing their businesses, their products, their services, and we're going to be talking about popular subjects such as AI, tariffs, and economy. That's scheduled for May 23rd at 10 a.m. That's online, so our actually networkers will be connecting from different places, and you can also join us at 10 a.m. on May 23rd. And this is a monthly business networking event. We call this Connectional America, and we're gonna connect it. We're gonna keep organizing these monthly basis. So that's definitely on the schedule. Do you have an idea? Would you like to be a guest in our podcast? Please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We keep an open mind. You can share your thoughts with us and ideas if you like to be a guest. If you know someone who like to be a guest, please reach out to us. We love to hear from you. And if you like to see what is coming on our podcast, please visit our website, americanpodcast.tv. And all the information available on our website is current. We keep it updated. Make sure to visit it. Thank you so much for being with us. Looking forward to seeing you